All right. Well, I said we were going to talk more about NBA end of the year awards. And before we talk about the picks for the NBA playoffs that we have for this upcoming weekend, because that's really the games that we have to talk about, and the one starting on Saturday. Brett, before we get to those, futures odds, you hinted a little bit at the rookie of the year with how strong the candidates are out of the East, that even though Josh Giddey performed so well and was the clear-cut Western Conference rookie of the year, he's probably not going to win the overall NBA rookie of the year. What about these other awards? It looks like some of these, they're down to either just being one-man races or two-man races.
Yeah, I guess you're right, Higgins. I think MVP, pretty interesting here. There's an Embiid camp, there's a Jokic camp. I'm sure
Which
there's a
camp are
group.
you?
I'm sure there's a group for Ja too. Giannis, right? There's a few names. For me, Higgins, I think what Nikola Jokic had to do for Denver to be successful this year. Not to take away from Joel Embiid, right? No center has led the league in scoring since Shaquille O'Neal. So It's been a while since Shaq retired, and it's been even longer since he led the league in scoring. So, I don't know the exact, maybe it was like 01, 2000, like right around there. It was his first or second year with the Lakers.
Yeah.
And, it was like, obviously that's a huge deal. He's the best player on his team, arguably the best player on the floor night in and night out, unless he's going up against Kevin Durant, Higgins. But I think Jokic carrying the Nuggets, being the true, really only guy who's an all-star on that roster right now. Jamal Murray, great player, injured all season. Michael Porter Jr., not many games with him in the lineup this year. So, they traded for Aaron Gordon last year at the deadline. He's a nice role player, Higgins, but not like a true number 2 superstar type. So that's why I lean Jokic. But I think there's a number of good candidates. Some people are saying Devin Booker as well from Phoenix. Obviously, best record in the league. He was their best player this year. Chris Paul missing some time there towards the end of the year. So lots of good guys.
And I understand why some people are throwing out Devin Booker's name, Ja Morant's name. To me, it's really a big man's discussion, though. It's Jokic, Embiid, and if you want to be ambitious, you can throw Giannis in there, but I don't think he's really gotten the attention and he's had too much support around him that it's really going to be between Embiid and Jokic. And personally, I'm in the Embiid camp because I don't think that it should discredit him from the MVP race that the Sixers got Harden and suddenly he didn't have to be their entire offense like he was all year. He still was able to put up the numbers that he was putting up before they got Harden. He just didn't have to necessarily be as flashy and be the only show for it. So I think it's Embiid's MVP personally, but I do see that I'm in the minority. Before all these books closed out their finals odds, I did grab an Embiid MVP prop at plus 275. It had Jokic at a minus 300 favorite, I believe. But I think it's going to be really down between those two. And it's part of the context that I have for my NBA picks, Brett, because I didn't pick any individual games from Saturday. I picked series winners from the opening series. And one of those is the Warriors-Nuggets series. And the Nuggets at plus 180, I don't understand how you can be picking an MVP off of a team that's going to be a first-round underdog. And I think if he's going to be in the MVP conversation, if he does very well potentially win it like he's the favorite to do now, then the Nuggets better win their first round. So plus 180, I'm grabbing them against the Warriors, who have struggled with Clay coming back, who have struggled with James Wiseman and injuries, and I don't know if Steph Curry can carry them. I bet on Steph Curry to be the league leader in scoring, and he didn't do that for me. I don't know if I can back the Warriors in playoffs right now.
Yeah, well, Steph's status uncertain for Saturday, which will be the first game of the series. He's recovering from a foot injury, Higgins, so we don't even know what Steph will look like when he's out there, although I'm sure he'll look pretty dang good. But yeah, that's why people are liking the Nuggets here at that price. So I can't say I blame you for taking your shot. You've got, Jokic going up at plus 480. Doesn't need to win every game, Higgins. Just needs to win 4 of 7. So can't say I hate the bet. Don't love the bet either. I think it's a popular dog play, Higgins. So sometimes, with popular dogs, it turns the other way and everyone looks silly. But I think everything you said about Nikola Jokic being a great player, the question marks being there for the Warriors, I think that's all really relative, and it's why a lot of bettors out there are taking the Nuggets in this series.
I think it's going to be an interesting series, too. I don't think it's going to be very quick on either side. I think it could be a 6 to 7 game series, depending on who wins this. And if you look at last year and the way the Nuggets were able to beat Portland and were really able to outscore Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum's duo of a shooting tandem, it was through Jokic, who was the top scorer in every single game of that opening series. I think that's what they're going to have to do again. They're going to have to make it big man's ball. And the Warriors, James Wiseman's not big enough to deal with Nikola Jokic. Jokic is going to just take advantage of that matchup all series, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't matter, but I wouldn't even expect Wiseman to play a minute.
Exactly, yeah. But I'm also betting on another series, Brett, because, like I said, I'm not going to be betting on any of the individual games as of now. The Mavericks versus the Jazz. The Jazz without Mike Conley has been interesting. Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert don't have nearly the relationship or the facilitation of the ball is not nearly as good without Conley on the floor. And the Mavs, they have had a history of not making it out of the first round so far. So this is an interesting matchup for me to look at. But I think this is where Luka takes that next step in his NBA story. Everyone looks at him to be a superstar. If he's going to be a superstar, he needs to make it out of the first round at some point in the playoffs. Is it this year? Can he do it against this team? I think he has the tools to do it. He's been playing rather well this season, and I think he does have it in his bag, especially with a Jazz team that hasn't necessarily been the strongest this year.
Yeah, Luka is going to be the best player on the floor in this series, Higgins. Jazz probably have the next 3 best players, so should be a pretty interesting matchup here. I think Mavs Jazz could go the full 7 games. I really like Quinn Snyder as a coach, Higgins. Big fan of him. I've got some good friends with the Mavs as well, so I know they'll be well prepared. So, look, no real feel on who comes out of this series, but I will say this, Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley, these guys probably know this is their last go-round together if they don't get it done. So, we'll see if that has any impact.
Yeah, and by the way, I mentioned it. Conley being out, I don't know why I did. He's full strength for this series, but I think it's going to be interesting. I think Luka needs to take that next step. He's going to be challenged in this series, though, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely going to be a competitive series for sure. I've got 2 individual game picks, Higgins. Looking over to the Tuesday night champions of the world, Minnesota Timberwolves, taking on the Memphis Grizzlies. Higgins, I think there's a slight advantage in game 1 to having played a quote-unquote playoff game already. You just have a feel for the atmosphere, a feel for the intensity, a feel for what the preparation's like. So I like the Timberwolves in general. I like them in game one to cover the 6.5 at Memphis. I think they're young and stupid, Higgins, and they don't know what they don't know. And Anthony Edwards is electric. He's a player that can win you a game for sure.
Well, the writing was on the wall for the Timberwolves to get that win over the Clippers with Pat Beverly. I mean, the emotion that he showed after that game and how much that meant to him, I think they'll be riding high, and if they can take that momentum into this series, they can sneak a early win potentially on one of these away games that they've got. But man, the Grizzlies, that is a young, talented team. Are they going to be able to keep up the momentum from the story that they've been all season long? Or is that young, flashy team going to kind of fold under the pressure after getting to the bright lights that they're at right now? It's going to be interesting to see how Memphis responds now that it's playoff time, I think.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned about Memphis. I think this is more about Minnesota just coming off a big game and having a little bit of an advantage that way. Maybe they've gotten some of their jitters out, stuff of that nature. And I think they can keep it close. I just need them to cover Higgins. Don't even need them to win outright. So the next game I'm going to, I do need the team to win outright and win big. Higgins, the Bucks are taking on the Bulls. And this is my take, Higgins. You ready? I hope you're sitting down. It looks like you are, so I can give the take. He's holding on. He's buckled in, ladies and gentlemen. Higgins, the Bulls stink. So that is my take. And Milwaukee will cover the 10.
I gotta be honest. Everyone has talked so much shit on the Bulls and how they expect them not to be able to handle any sort of playoff series that it has me worried about some sort of dark horse factor that this team might be able to do. I don't believe in the Bulls either. I don't think they're going to be able to do it in the NBA playoffs, but something in the back of my mind is just tingling, stay away.
Fair enough, Higgins. I'm hopping all over that 10, and by the time game tips off, I would expect, and this is just a guess, but Chicago's a big market in the NBA. I would expect more money to be on Chicago on the spread, not the money line, but the spread, than Milwaukee.
Okay, well that's an interesting one, and we'll see how that game goes. We're recording this on Wednesday night. Those games are on Saturday, so we do have some time. And those lines can change a lot, by the way, between now and then. We have games wrapping up right now that'll affect the 8 seeds that are going to be coming in as well, so we don't even have all of those first-round matchups fully decided.